Thinking of publishing your book? Hold that contract. In this eye-opening episode of Just Saying, I sit down with indie publishing powerhouse Michele DeFilippo of 1106 Design, who's made it her mission to stop authors from getting scammed by shady publishing partners. With over 50 years of experience and more than 4,000 books produced, Michele is a guide every author didn't know they needed. Let's get into it. Hey friends, I'm here with Michele DeFilippo, and we're here discussing about the truth about independent publishing. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Thank you for having me, Jess.
Okay, so I think I murdered your name still, even though you told it to me 50 times. I was telling you that you say everybody gets your name wrong. Everybody gets my name wrong too, because they think there's an I in it, and it's Danel. It's not Daniel, but it looks like it could be Daniel. Sorry about that. Okay, so you wrote a book. People, they write a book. Now what? Now what do they do when you write a book?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation about independent publishing. That's why I've been doing these podcasts, and I appreciate you're giving me the exposure here. Most authors, when they finish a book, they understand that they need services to produce that book, and they don't know anything about the process. And so they run off and they hire a publisher. Now, in the old days, that was a good thing. Traditional publishers did not charge the author to produce the book. They took care of everything. All the author had to do was contribute the manuscript. And then when a book was sold, the author would be paid a small royalty for every copy that was sold.
And it's not like in the movies, like when they say, I'm going to give you an advance of like $100,000 to do your book. And like, you know what I mean? Like you find you know what I mean? Like,
well, that may be true if you're a superstar and you already have a couple of million followers on social media.
Right. But like the average Joe, they're not going to want to hear my sob story of a book. But
well, some traditional publishers in some cases will still pay in advance. But the point is that a traditional publisher does not charge the author to produce the book. And that was the model forever. Then around 1995, 2000, independent publishing became possible with the appearance of Amazon. So all of a sudden, anybody could publish a book, put it up on Amazon for sale, keep control of it, and earn all of the money when a book was sold, right? And that was the greatest thing since sliced bread for authors, because all of a sudden they didn't need anyone's permission to publish a book. They didn't have any publisher changing the nature of their book. They could do what they wanted and make money for it. So now in the intervening 20 years, things have gotten a little bit confused. Publishers are back, but today's publishers charge the author to produce the book, and they also take most of the revenue from sales. So that does not work out too well for the authors, and that's what I can talk about here.
Well, I just wanted to say I relate to that last statement, because I too, and I think we talked about my publisher, and I'm not afraid to say it, but Christian Faith Publishing. I did have to pay. It's like I guess it was explained to me in like a hybrid way. Like it is like you do have to pay a little bit, but then, they are a publishing company and you are getting it published. So it's through them, but you're paying them, which is kind of a weird thing. And they give you so many things in packages. Like you can do a good package or a semi package. I did a good package, which is probably not smart, but but I did give them just in my case, I gave them a pretty good, solid piece of writing, because I self-edited my book for about a year, and I used software, and I put money into editing it. I can't say that. And then they said, man, this is great. They liked the fact that it was going to take a lot to bring it to fruition. But anyways, it's not been a great road. I can tell you that right now. Anybody out there thinking about publishing their book, it's been bumpy and it's been difficult. And I'm going to write another book, and I'm not going to do it that way. I really want to learn more about what you're talking about, because I think it'll help me tremendously.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the word hybrid publishing, because that's the word in vogue right now. And a hybrid publisher the word hybrid is a rebranding of what used to be called a self-publishing company. Now, self-publishing companies, all of them, charge the author to produce the book, charge for services, which in itself there's nothing wrong with that, right? They have to provide the services, they have to pay somebody, they have to charge you. But the problem comes in when the book is sold. Now, by charging you for all the services needed to produce the book, they have no investment whatsoever in the book. You invested the money, right?
Right.
So the question becomes, why should they share your profits when the book is sold? That's the problem, right? So now some expenses in the book world are unavoidable. The retailers are going to take a cut of the cover price. Usually it's 40 to 55%. The printing has to be paid for no matter what. You cannot escape those two charges. But when a hybrid publishing company takes an additional part of the revenue out of your pocket before they pay you, that's what I love to talk about, because people don't actually need a publisher anymore. You can be your own publisher. That's what independent publishing means. So there's a conflation between paying for services and paying for publishing. You do not have to pay for publishing. You
I
can
could get the services through somebody else, and the publishing I could do on my own.
absolutely, and
I could outsource it.
that's what we do. We charge authors for services and we help them publish the book on their own print-on-demand accounts, so those accounts are completely under their control. They get the sales reports, they get the bank deposits directly to their bank account. We don't participate in any way in their payments once our services are complete. So that's the original model of self-publishing, and that's what we do and what I can talk about and answer any questions you have about.
Yeah, because then the bottom line is too. They if it's going on Amazon, the Amazon charges you, so then your publisher charges you that too. So it's there's a lot of
Yeah.
little charges. Like, and by the time you get it, you're making less than $4 a book.
Here's a typical calculation. Let's say the retail price of your book is about $20. Uh, Amazon takes 40% right off the top for for the privilege of listing your book. So that leaves you $13, right? Now the print charge might be $4. So now the net to the author should be $8. But when a publishing company is involved, your net royalty might be something like $2 if you're lucky. So that's where the difference is. Would you rather make $2, or would you rather make $6 to $8
Right.
when you sell a book?
Yeah. And as an author, first time author, and somebody who doesn't read a lot of books, but I thought getting a publisher was like, oh my God, like I actually have a publisher. It's not just self-publishing. But if you think about it now, nobody's doing that anymore. Everybody's
Well,
self-publishing. There's a lot of indie meaning independent, writers out there that are publishing the books on their own, and I mean, marketing them on their own and doing all that. I mean, my publisher, I hate to say it, I'm great people, but I'm not seeing any marketing from them. And in fact, caveat, they told me that they won't start marketing until after my audiobook is finished. And my audiobook is probably another 4 months away. And my book was released at the end of June. So my book is out there and my publisher hasn't done any advertising. I got a self-publisher or a book publisher. Excuse me, back up. I got a book promoter, my brain. And they're not doing the greatest either. And I feel like I'm out there myself trying to get on podcasts, trying to do social media the best I can. I'm going to do a book signing that I'm working out on my own. I mean, all these things that I thought my book promoter was going to help me, and they aren't helping me like I thought that they should. And so I kind of feel like I'm one of those people. I'm like, I'm not going to fight and say, oh, I want my money back. I'm just going to brush it under the rug and call it a lesson learned. And then I'm going to learn how to do it better, like through someone like you that are
well,
teaching us the ropes.
yeah. So the thing to pay attention to is not what the publisher may or may not be doing in any given time frame. That the thing is, if they're charging you for every service, then they have no legitimate reason to be taking more of your money out of your pocket every time a book is sold, right? Because they're charging you for everything. Now, there are some hybrid publishers that partner with the author. For example, they might charge the author for services, and then they will invest their own money into the marketing aspect of the project. And in that case, sharing the revenue from sales makes perfect sense. That's just an ordinary partnership. But if you're paying for everything, you should get all of the profits from the sale of that book. And that's what you do get when you work with an author services company like mine. There are many of us, and not a publisher, quote unquote, a publisher.
I mean, ugh.
See, we charge for services, whatever services you want, but we don't take a penny of the revenue when a book is sold.
I know. So, okay, can I ask you, like, jump right to it? Like, what are some things that is like a must have in services when you're trying to get a book out there? And does different books, is it different for any different book, or is it all the same for all books?
Well, it depends on the author and the nature of the book, but I would say just as a starting package, the most necessary services are copy editing, cover
Mhm.
design, interior design, and typesetting, not formatting. We can talk about that. Uh,
What's typesetting?
Typesetting is the way a book should be done, and it's what you will see if you buy any book from a major publisher. And if you look carefully, you'll see the pages are designed. They're organized in such a manner as to be navigable for the reader. They're beautiful. Formatting is just basically somebody putting your manuscript into a Word file and not really doing much with it at all, other than setting the margins and maybe choosing the type size and the line spacing. So a book needs to be designed not only on the cover but on the inside too, in order to make a nice presentation for the reader.
Can I ask you a question about the cover? Um, do you see I see a lot of AI generated, or not cartoonish, but like hand drawn, or type of covers versus like the pictures or photography type photos, or I don't even know if they're photo stock or whatever. But um is there a trend right now on that? And what do you think does better, like the hand drawn, or the AI type pictures, or like something that's done like like a picture of
Well, I'm
something?
I'm not a fan of AI creating graphics, and I'll tell you why. They're stealing somebody's work.
Yeah,
AI is not a trained illustrator. They're not a trained photographer, so they're grabbing somehow, somewhere, elements from other places, and they're presenting it to you as if the machine created it, but it didn't create anything.
right.
It is artificial in every respect, except that they're probably just getting intelligence somehow about what's typically done for that sort of book. So I'm a firm believer that a trained designer, sometimes a book cover can be illustrated, sometimes it should be photographic. It depends on the genre of the book. For example, a cookbook, you would definitely want beautiful photography, right? For a memoir or a history book, you would definitely want photography. It all depends on the nature of the book, but it should always be designed by a trained designer. It should never be a do-it-yourself project.
Okay, so but let me back up. So I am one of those people that I am like, oh, I'm gonna do it. It's my book. I want to design my cover. I want. And so, but they didn't give me any pushback. So I designed my cover like this, and it's got photos of me and my family and just some crazy little things, because it's a memoir about me through the decades. And so I designed it, and I said I wanted to look just like this. And they did it exactly the way I sent it to them.
Okay, so you gave them what I would call a concept, right? You told them what they want, and they put it together.
Yeah, I
That
actually did I did the PowerPoint and I put the pictures in every single position and then I gave it to him. And then I said, "Okay, tell me how you interpret this exactly the way and see how you can format it into a cover." And they did pretty much. I mean, I had them shift things here and there because I'm a feng shui kind of person. I'm like, it doesn't, it doesn't vibe right here or whatever. And so, but I'm like that kind of person. But my next book, I definitely need to have input and help because I'm writing a romance novel. And so I don't know anything about the genre and I don't know, like, I don't know, is there photography? Is it a hand drawn picture or does photography do better? I don't know, like in that genre.
For
So,
romance, it's usually photography of people,
yeah,
particular people.
like
Uh,
sexy hot people.
Yeah, yeah, and then and generally the rule is don't show people on a book cover, but romance is the exception. That's expected, and so
Yeah.
you definitely want to design your book in a way that people in who read that type of book expect. You don't want to try to teach them anything new. You want to stick to the conventions of the genre, right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I guess authors worry that a designer is not going to listen to them, but that's not the case. In true book design, it's a collaboration. The designer will has the skills to build the digital files and to put it together in a professional way. But we always want your ideas and your concepts, and then we'll execute those concepts for you, and we'll also show you some of our own ideas too, just so that you have something to compare it to.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you're researching for, well, okay, so we're talking with you as your independent publishing, but what are some red flags if you are looking for a publisher, or let's say you do some research and you're looking out there that, comparing your services to, like, let's say the one that I went through, um, con- Christian Faith Publishing. What are some red flags that you need to, like, ding, 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 like,
Well, there are four red flags, actually. The first one is anyone who promises to give you a free ISBN. Now, an ISBN is basically a model number for your book. It's the way the book industry tracks inventory, and it's required if you're going to sell your book on any retail environment, whether it's online or offline.
all your books from college and all your books in the back of your elementary books there or in the inside, there is an ISO, or what is it?
ISBN. It's
ISBN, sorry.
That's
An
okay.
ISBN
Stands
number.
stands stands for International Standard Book Number.
Right. And
Right.
if you go in any book, like you said, it's right in there. So yeah, I got one for my book, of course. But so you're saying if they say they're going to sell you the number,
or
that's not true.
give you the number. They're gonna give it to you for free. Now, in the United States, we have to buy ISBNs. In some countries, the government provides them free of charge, but in here we have to buy them. Now, so when someone says they're going to give you a free ISBN, the ISBN identifies the publisher and the title. So what they're doing is they're giving you one of their ISBNs, which means that they are the publisher of record of your book. I always recommend that if you're independently publishing a book, you should be registered as the publisher, which means you should buy your own ISBNs, right? But
So how do you
before
do that? Is you do,
we can facilitate that process for you. That was going to be my next explanation. Don't run
like,
off and do that, because the way it works at Bowker is the ISBN agency in the United States. Every country has one ISBN agency. It's a monopoly, right? Sometimes, like I said, it's the government, but here it's Bowker. And the website is www.myidentifiers.com if you want to go look. But what authors will do unwittingly is they'll go out and buy a single ISBN for $125. And then they talk to us and we tell them, oh, well, you need two ISBNs. You need one for your print book and one for your ebook at the very least, right? And
and
maybe
audio, would that be the same for audio too?
another one for the audiobook, and maybe another one for a hardcover version if you want to release hardcover and softcover. So
So smart.
Bowker sells them individually for $125 each, and they also sell them in blocks of 10 for $250.75. With our discount, that's the price for 10. So don't run off and do anything before you talk to us.
'Cause then you'll
Uh,
have extras for the next time.
yes, and they never expire, and they're always registered to you in your name, so nobody else can be claimed to be the publisher of your book. Now,
Smart.
so let me take a side note there, if I can. Because these publishers give you one of their ISBNs, what they claim is that if you ever want to part ways with them and you ask them, please give me my files that I paid you to create so that I can move forward and republish this book on my own, they're going to tell you, no, we're the publisher. We own those files. We get calls like that every week too.
I asked my people when I first I go, can I ever part ways? And they said yes.
Of
But
course.
I'm wondering if they'll say we have to take the number away and then I'd have to buy another one. Or
Yes.
right? Right.
Yes. And if you should always ask for the application files when you part ways with a publisher. Most of them will give you a PDF, but a PDF is not editable in any major way. So if you wanted to replace a paragraph or add text, you can't do that in a PDF. You need what's called the application files, and usually those are Adobe InDesign files. So, and that's where, in our experience anyway, many publishers will give you a very hard time. They won't release those files. So that's unfortunate for you, right? Because you paid for them to create these files, and now you have to start over from
Can
scratch.
you ask for the files even though you're not going to part ways with them?
I don't know. I guess that would depend on the publisher.
Because I'd be like, ask them now while I'm still in good graces, and then I don't know. I'm just thinking ahead. I eventually wanted to do self publishing, but I mean, because then I can put I can recoup some of the I don't know from here in eternity. I'd like my book to continue to sell, and I would like to make more money on it if I could.
Well, look, the whole idea of independent publishing was that the author is in control. Right? It's your book. You should be in control of it. And you should make every penny of revenue possible when that book sells. You shouldn't be sharing that revenue with anyone else, particularly if they charged you to produce the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm not smart when
Yeah.
I didn't think about it all.
No, I don't want you to feel bad about that, because it's not a matter of you not being smart. It's a matter of the lack of transparency in the industry. Right?
Yeah,
See, like they said, "Oh, if you can part ways, but then we have to take the number away." Well, you know, it that's like scolding a child, right?
right.
"Oh, there's something bad's gonna happen if you wanna do it your way." It's
Yeah,
not.
like yeah, exactly. Okay, your penance are
Y
like
Yes,
uh
you're a grown up, you should
and I don't
control.
care. Like $120 20 or a thing isn't going to break my bank, but it's the having to go through it all is kind of the
But see,
BS.
if you now, it is a hassle if you were to go out and hire 4 or 5 or 6 freelancers on your own and try to manage that whole process. That's where companies like mine come in. We have the whole team assembled. We've got a process that has been fine-tuned over 20 years. So we know what to do and walk you through it step by step so it's
So
completely
like
comfortable.
if I wanted to break the chains that bind me with my publisher, you're the company that'll help me do that.
I can't answer that for you.
Oh.
I can tell you what we do. I can't tell you what to do.
Oh. Well, I mean, but would you help walk me through the steps? I mean, help me, like I would do it, right? But you would help. It,
If you wanted to produce another book with us,
uh,
a different book,
a different book.
then we
So
would help you from the beginning.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if I wanted to break the chains that bind me with my current people, you're like, no, that's something you got to work on your own.
Yes.
If I'm in contract, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't owe them anything. So, I guess this is as long as I want to stay with them. But I mean, I'm
I
cool
don't
with it.
I don't ever encourage someone to leave another company, because I appreciate loyalty from my customers, right?
Right.
And that is 100% your decision anyway.
I felt like I want to ride this train with them until I decide when I'm a lot older that maybe this is something I wanted to change. Cause right now I got too many other things in the frying pan to worry
Well,
about. Like,
if you're happy with the way they're treating you and they're doing everything they're promising, then perhaps you should. Right now that you're educated and you know there's a better way, you just
and the
do that with the next book.
yeah,
Yeah.
the second time around, I'm just thinking that like, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm kind of kicking myself right now, thinking that I wish I would have maybe.
Don't do that. It's not your fault, because if you listen to the narrative online, you've got authors telling other authors, "This is the company I used, and go to this publisher." And there's more information than there's ever been available to us, but at the same time, there's less good information. It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, that's true. We were on your red flags and we got to two of them, I think.
Okay, free ISBNs was the first red flag. The other red flag is they promise to pay you a royalty, right? And that was the formula that I described before. The book is sold, Amazon gets its cut, the printer gets its cut, the publisher gets its cut, and then what's left is a royalty of about $2, right? But if you control your own book and you publish independently with an author services company, Amazon still gets its cut, the printer still gets their cut, but then the balance goes to you, and it's usually $6 to $8 per book.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It still sounds like a little bit compared to the cover price of the book, but that's just the nature of the book world. Book retailers are no different than any other retailer. They usually take about 40 to 50% off the top. And when you go buy a shirt at Target, they didn't pay the manufacturer $20 for that shirt.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah. So there's always a markup when you're dealing with a retailer. And it's just
That's fair.
business. They have to get paid for what they're doing.
I mean, otherwise, I have had other authors on my podcast that they sell it on their own website.
You can do that too, and we can show you how. There is a way to directly sell books from your website, bypass the retailer altogether, and
Right.
make even more than that $5 or $6 a book, or $7 or $8 a book, because you're not paying that retail wholesale discount of 40 to 55%. Yes.
But then again, you're not. It's more difficult because you're not. Well, I mean, you can get lost on Amazon. Let me just say, your book can get lost. So, what's the difference between being a millionth book on Amazon or you're on your own website? It's almost like.
Exactly. It's always the author's job to bring the buyer to the retailer, whether you work with a publisher or you do it on your own, right? So
Whether
yes,
I'm
you can
so
just as easily bring people to your website to buy the book direct
right.
and make more money.
I mean, that's like. I mean, can you get on? Okay, so if you do it that way, and let's say you do want to be on Barnes and Noble bookshelves, there's a way to have it at your. Can you sell it at your own website and also do it at Barnes and Noble, or no?
I don't see why not. But
See,
you're
now
not
that.
you're not going to be on the shelf at any physical bookstore unless you make a specific arrangement with a local bookstore. They might give you a chance and put you on the local authors table or something. But as a general rule, bookstores do not want to work with independent authors. They want to go to a distributor that can give them 100 titles on one invoice. They don't want all the back and forth of dealing with each individual author, and you
That's
can't you can't
true.
can't blame them for that.
Yeah, like my book can be bought at Barnes and Noble, but you can't find it on the shelf
That's
because.
correct, because what your book is in the Ingram database,
Yes. Yeah.
and so one of the print on demand companies that we recommend for authors is Ingram Spark, which is the Ingram database, and also KDP, which feeds the book to Amazon. So by using both of those print on demand companies together, you get the widest distribution at the lowest cost.
So then there's always drawbacks to something, you know.
Always.
Yeah, and so you can either be like you said. Well, I have a lot. Like I said, I have a lot of authors that they just have websites and they try to drive traffic to their web page,
There's
and that
nothing
they.
wrong with that, right?
Right.
Because think about it, the retailers will list your book, but they don't do anything to promote it unless you buy ads. So
Right.
so then they get 40 to 55% when someone stumbles upon the book and buys it, right?
And
But
nobody's gonna be looking at Bucket List from a Redneck Girl. That's my title
what
of my book.
nobody's looking for any of the millions of books on Amazon, right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
So the only way you can get them is to pull them in by your your social media and the
Exactly.
advertising that you do. And so whether you're pulling them to Amazon or whether you're pulling them to your own personal website, I kind of think that pulling them into my own personal, like TikTok though. Can I ask you about TikTok or TikTok books or what's it called?
I don't know a whole lot about that, honestly.
Okay. I believe that they have a shop, a book shop, or I don't know what it's called. Why am I have drawn a blank? Book Talk or something. I think that's what it's called.
I've heard the term, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can go to there. I think it's independent, and you go there and they can buy your book there, and then they sell it on their own website as well. So that's kind of an idea. I'm
Well,
interested.
I
I'm real.
would look into look into the arrangement and see
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
they're taking, from your revenue to do that. If they're acting just like another retailer, then, you know, it's no
You
benefit
know,
to you.
remember how I said that, like, oh, when I did get the publisher to want to publish my book, I felt like I was a real author. Um, but self-publishing isn't a lesser option, right? It's more often the smarter option.
Not at all. I mean, the thing that has given self-publishing a bad name is that a lot of authors produce lousy books. They do it themselves, or they hire somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and they don't edit the text, and the book isn't up to professional standards, right? But if you produce a wonderful book up to traditional publishing standards, and people are happy with it, they're going to give it a good review. They're going to tell all their friends, and nobody cares who the publisher is.
Yeah, I mean,
So you
people
might as
really
well.
don't look at they don't
No,
look at the first
no,
few pages and like, "Okay,
no.
this is published by." I mean, somebody might look at mine because it is Christian faith, and maybe they might say, "I will only do a book that's by a Christian publisher." But I mean, but that wasn't really my thought process when I mean, it was a plus bonus to me that I might be, put on 2 different shelves, so to speak, but I'm really not on anybody's shelf, but, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can manage all of that yourself. So if you hire a team that knows what they're doing, like us, then we could walk you through all of that. I mean, I feel sorry for authors because anyone who goes online looking for information about indie publishing is going to be quickly overwhelmed with the amount of information available.
So publishing or writing a book, there's a lot of things that go into the writing part, and then there's editing. What are some of the things that go into all the parts that go in? Like maybe continue on with some of your services. So you guys help with the editing part of it, the formatting part of it, and you said the other part was the pretty parts of the inside of the book, like how it flows, right? What's that called?
Well, editing is first. Copy
Okay,
editing
editing.
is first,
Okay,
then cover design, then interior design
interior.
and typesetting versus
Okay.
formatting. Right.
So
Typesetting is.
is that kind of like, does that mean like, okay, I want to make sure that my font is readable? Cause like old people, they can't read certain font. I'm not saying old people cause I'm saying me, cause I literally can't read without my glasses, but I can't read with my glasses. And so I have to have a certain font. Otherwise I can't read the book. It's like too much for my eyeballs. Does
No.
that kind of go into that in a
Well,
way?
setting the margins and picking a font is only the very beginning of book design. Typesetting is very detailed, and a typesetter will adjust the spacing of every line, every word, even the letters within a word, in order to make the text be smooth and even so that there's no distractions for the reader. Because if sometimes you could be reading a book and you think you don't like the book or you don't like the author, but that may not be the reason. It may be just lousy typesetting or somebody who didn't hire a typesetter and formatted their own book in Word. The spacing is not the same. It looks okay to you if you're not familiar with what real typesetting should look like, but it's a very meticulous process. Takes a long time to typeset a book.
That something that somebody could do on their own? I mean, I'm definitely somebody that likes to do it on their own, but I kind of feel like there are certain things that I'm going to outsource because it's more of a headache and it's more of the process and it's a learning curve that you probably don't want to take on your own book.
Well, and it is a learning curve, but what I'm hearing between the lines there is you feel like you will lose control if you hire an expert. That's not true. Experts will just take your input and execute the job according to what they know best, just like an editor does, cover designer, typesetter, all of that. And Can you learn to typeset? Of course, we all did, but you can't. You're not. Microsoft Word and Vellum and any of these automated systems are not giving you typesetting; they're giving you formatting. Real types,
Right.
real typesetting, you need to use Adobe InDesign. That's what typesetters use, and you have to know what kind of settings you're looking for and what kind of results you're looking for. You also have to be trained in fonts and sizes and spacing so that it's all done with a coherent message in mind, right? If you're not trained as a designer, you might make things too big or too small, or the
I
spacing
definitely
won't be
think that,
right.
I think that I know that I could not do that on my own. Just say just saying, and
But you don't lose control, right? So when we design a book, we show you samples and we
right,
work
right.
back and forth and get your feedback on those samples, and then we fine tune until we have a final product.
Yeah, the other thing is, you can put all your book into like AutoCrit or some other type of editing software and do it a million times and it comes out pretty good. But you really need a second set of lenses, a second set of eyes on your book before you ever go to publish it because it would be I mean I know that I'm good at what I did, but I know that I needed a second set of eyes, and they revised it and it was better. And so just those of you out there that think I would spend the money to make sure that it's right. You always want someone to proofread your term paper before you hand it in to the professor.
Well, yeah, and what a professional editor does is they see when you've read your manuscript 50 times, you're not seeing it after a while.
Yeah.
Your brain sees what you expect to see. So what an outside editor is, that fresh pair of eyes that is going to see the things you missed. And they might make comments such as, you said that 20 pages ago, or, you're not really explaining yourself here. Maybe you should elaborate on this a little more, whatever, as well as just the typical grammar, punctuation, all of that.
Yeah.
But it's that human creativity, the human sensibilities that can't be replaced by a machine of any kind.
Yeah, I was lucky. They never said that it didn't flow right. Like I never had them say, "Oh, I was lucky that I'm anal when it comes to my writing," but like I never had that. But I did use the wrong dashes. There was a couple
Mhm.
commas that maybe they thought might have done should have been or whatever. Or in writing we don't normally capitalize this one or I also with my publisher, they use the word um people don't use the word like master bedroom anymore. There's just like certain terms that like they said we suggest, that you change it from master bedroom to primary or whatever the case may be. But then again, it comes down to you. If you want to call it master bedroom, then more power to you. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I guess I was going off on a tangent on that one, but so okay. So the name of your company is it? If I have it down, but I'm not sure if it's right. Is it 1106 Design?
Correct. 1106design.com.
Okay. Oh, see how easy 1106design.com. And so, can I ask you a question? Someone like me, because this would be a question because I want to know for myself. So do you guys you have to pay all at once or do you do like payments?
No, we have 2 options for you. You can
Okay.
pay 50% down and 50% after 90 days, or when we're done, whichever comes first. And then we have the 25% plan where it's 25% in monthly intervals. 25% down and then 25% a month for 3 more months.
Okay. And then once you're done, right? It's a done book and then it's ready to go.
That's
Like
right.
you get them set and then they just take off from there. And then whatever they bring home is their bacon, right?
Absolutely, and we will also will help you get your print on demand accounts set up. We'll go into your accounts. We'll set up all the messy title details, the keywords, the categories, and all of that, and then we'll upload your book files and we'll walk you through the proofing process, because each printer has their own proofing process to go through. And then when you've got a final approved book ready to go, then we'll help you walk you through the distribution options and talk about discounts and markets and all of that with you.
I'm I'm interested for myself. If I can get this book written, after all the things that I have my hands in every cookie pot or what, how do you say that? Hand in the
Cookie
cookie jar?
jar.
Calling it a pot, whatever. I have my hand in every jar. So as soon as I stop, I'm going to get back to my book. But I'm excited about that process being something I just like to create. I
Yes.
created businesses. I created a book, and now I'm doing a podcast. I just like to create.
Well,
That's just my
that's a
thing.
really good point, right? Because if you do what you do best, every author, which is write and think up stories and craft the language and put your heart and soul into that manuscript, you don't have to follow that with suffering, dealing with things that you don't know anything about, and probably winding up with an amateur job. Hand it off to experts. We'll work with you and for you, and together we'll create a great product from your manuscript.
And then then you're on to your next book.
That's right.
Because I'm doing a 4-book series is what I want to do. I want it to be, anyways. So if I can, I mean, in my mind, it's going to be that way. So I'm hoping that I can make it come to fruition. And I'm excited of the future because I truly believe that I could do it better with your company than all by myself.
Well,
And
we
it
think
kind of feels like someone hugging you and saying, you can do it.
well, we genuinely feel that way, and we're not a great big company that advertises on TV and tries to bring in thousands of authors a month. We work with a few authors at a time over the course of a year, and we give them our complete and undivided attention. We don't put you on an assembly line. You get real answers from real people when you ask a question, and
Right.
it should be an enjoyable process. You worked your heart out to make that manuscript. And then we do what we do next. And pretty soon you'll have a book available for sale.
And I'm constantly telling people, if you've got stories, you probably have more stories than you think. Put them in a book. I could go, you know what? Go get my book, Bucket List from a Redneck Girl. It's available on Amazon. Um, but go get it, and it might inspire you to write your own story because they're just a bunch of stories of my life that some are funny, some are sad, and some are unbelievable. Trust me, it is a book you will laugh and cry through. So, it might inspire you to like write your own story. And you're like, man, I got stories like that too. Some that are sad, some that are happy, some that are crazy, like unbelievable stories that you will not believe that actually were true. And go write your book, dude, and do it independently and go to 1106design.com and they will help you go the rest of the distance. I mean, people, they get scared because they're like, no one's going to publish my book. Well, you know what? You do it yourself.
You can't be scared of me. I'm 4'10". Okay.
That's my grandma was 4'11", and my husband was 6'6". So if you put them next to each other, it was always a running joke in the family. Go stand next to Doug, and she'd go over there and she'd stand next to my husband. I hear it was just such a delight to have you on. Thank you for answering all of my questions
Thank
because I
you.
know that I ask a lot, but I'm asking for myself, but I'm hoping that there are other moms out there that get inspired to maybe write their story down and then they can do it independently. And can I ask you a question? The pricing is based on the kind of services that you're getting. You don't have to get everything that you're dishing out. It's kind of crafted to like the individual and what their needs are, right?
It's always unique to the author and the book. We never force you into packages, small, medium, large packages. We will just talk to you, find out what you really need, give you a quote for those services, and then the price is based on the length and complexity of the book.
That's great. Okay. So everybody, you can go to my website, justsayin.net, go to this episode number and click onto Michelle's name and the episode, and it'll take you to their website. And it's 1106design.com. And if you're out there and you're writing a book or you might write a book, keep this episode in mind, come back and revisit it. It'll probably answer a lot of your questions because it answered a lot of mine.
Free consultations to anyone who would like one. And if you go to my website, you can download my free book, which is called Publish Like the Pros. And it'll repeat a lot of what I've said here, and you can read it at your leisure and then get in touch.
I feel like I had my one little one-on-one already
You
today.
did.
I think everybody got their little one-on-one today. Michele, thank you so much for taking the time and giving us all your information. My audience is very appreciative. I'm very appreciative.
Me
So
too. Thank you.
thank you. Everybody have a great night or day, right? You could be day. Could be on your bike at the gym. Where I should be. All right, everybody. Goodbye.
Gather around when the sun dips low, talking about the days we used to know. VCR tapes and dial-up tones, raising kids living with achy bones. Leather jackets and big hair days, now it's carpool lines and PTA. Neon dreams turn into schoolyard fights, but our hearts glow in retro nights. We are Gen X, living both worlds. From cassette set tapes to a digital world. Parenting now with a nod to the past. The retro love we know will last. We are Gen X, living both worlds. From cassette tapes to a digital world. Parenting now with a nod to the past. The retro love we know will last. We dance to the beats of the boombox sound. Now bedtime stories echo all around. But deep inside we're the mixtape kings, still fighting life with arcade dreams. Feeding families with a pizza slice, telling tales with a side of advice, laughing at the way